Hello everybody! This is ChristianPokemonChampion here with another Wait, where's CPC? Here I am! NANI? As you just saw, I went full-blown ninja on ya. So how about we do the same in Pokemon Fire Red? Can I beat Frog while invisible? Now the rules. As usual, I'll be using just one Pokemon to win. In this case, I felt Keckleon was the most appropriate since, well, you know. I must also win while invisible. Now you must be wondering how I'll be doing this. For some reason, when you press the key F5 in the VisualBoy Advanced Emulator, it eliminates some graphics, which includes the Pokemon itself and their attacks. To my knowledge, this is the only game console emulator that does this. For instance, I couldn't get this to work in Desmumi. This will mean that I'll be in the dark in what is happening during battle. Don't worry, I'll make sure I'll keep you guys up to date when battling. Doing this to my emulator will add a new flair to the challenge. I'll be forced to use my knowledge of Pokemon to keep track and use the right moves to win the battle, despite the lack of visual cues and stimuli. The other usual rules also apply: no items in battle, including colored items. HM martyrs are allotted sainthood, and lastly, with the exception to move tutors, TMs and HMs are prohibited. Now before we begin, since this is an invisible challenge, the subscribe button decided to steal the invisibility cloak from Harry. So it is your job to find the subscribe button to retrieve it. See if you can find them. Oh, there it is! You must have the ability Keen Eye. Now to punish the subscribe button for this heinous crime, why don't you push them? I'm sure they'll learn their lesson afterward. Now let's begin! I named myself Joe Jr. Thereafter, I pressed F5 and immediately, as you can see, the graphics are being affected. Although Elihu basically just loses his shadow. I guess Moria got him? In the game, the overworld just loses yourself. Luckily, my avatar is always in the middle of the screen, so all I'll have to do is keep my eyes in the middle, and then I'll be fine. To obtain Keckleon as my starter, I replaced Charmander for them. Blastoise is pretty bulky, so I thought I'd have the most difficulty with them. Man, the graphics in this game are astounding! While in battle, it would appear that both players lose their Pokemon, nearly all battle animations, and HP info. Luckily, I can still see my moves in the main menu. Because I won't be able to see my HP, I'll have to make sure I make Keckleon swole and thick. As a note, it is kind of weird that I can briefly see a Pokemon when they're being hit with a physical move. I believe this goes away once I later get rid of the battle animations in the settings. I don't want to see your face in this neck of woods. This town ain't big enough for the two of us. I take the invisible parcel to the invisible clerk, go back to the invisible professor to retrieve my invisible Pokédex. Okay, I promise I'll stop doing that. I'm actually having fun seeing what is and is not shown after everything is invisible. For instance, all the NPCs in the Over and Underworld are invisible. Even the Pokeball used in the catching tutorial was opaque.
Let's do it again, I wasn't looking.
One more thing! Another thing, unless you had the game's sound on, you would have missed that this trainer wanted to battle you. It's a good thing I played this game literally hundreds of times. I probably have a map of the game emboldened into my brain. Interestingly enough, leveling up my Pokemon allows me to get a glimpse of Keckleon. Oh, so that's what you look like. Man, Brock's gym looks the same as Platinum Fitness in February. I hope someone got that joke. Though I have no idea what level my Pokemon is, let's fight the Invisible Man. I know Judo is first, so I used Feint Attack since it's a special attack, whereby he used Defense Curl. I attacked again, and I guess I won? So it appears that Feint Attack is doing pretty good work here. Oh, it looks like Keckleon is a level 14 now. Onix a little faster, so he used Tackle. I retaliated with Feint Attack. Such a riveting battle. Next turn, Onix got a crit on me, and I used another Feint Attack. Again, Feint Attack is special in this gen, so it's surprising Onix survived this so far, but one more did it. This was done on my first attempt. Despite this challenge being easy, it's a pretty interesting experience. Oops, oh, sorry for bumping into you. Something that I learned along the way to the next gym is that I'll be needing to keep track of my HP levels, otherwise I'll faint mid-battle. Basically, I'll need to not expect too much out of Keckleon, and then once in a while I'll have to heal. Oh look, it's Shiitake! Man, being invisible kind of makes me appreciate hidden items. What fossil am I getting? What fossil am I getting? Prior to arriving at Cerulean City, I did take the time to utilize these move tutors here. Trust me, they're there. Seeing how Brock appeared to be nothing, let's see if I can win against Misty. Staryu is up first. They harden and I Falcon Punch them. Somewhat underwhelming Falcon Punch. Gratefully, we took them out with just one punch. Dang, Keckleon, putting Saitama to shame. Starmie is next. Quickly, they use Water Pulse, which, due to our ability, we turn into a water type. Unluckily, we got confused and damaged ourselves as a result. At least with our ability, their attacks are weakened. I suppose I underestimated them, since they used Swift to turn us back into a normal type. Maybe the AI is a little bit smarter than I thought. Another Water Pulse, and we finally landed an attack on them. They swifted once more, and I finished them off with another punch. Since these gyms are pretty dang easy, how about I tell an invisible dad joke after each one? You do not get a freebie from Brock's gym. Will invisible planes ever be a thing? I don't know. I just can't see them taking off. Get ready for more of these. Man, it is just so crowded over here. Look as I make this invisible man into Invisible Man. Wait, after helping nobody. I went straight to the next gym. What are we looking at? Lieutenant Surge's first Pokemon was Voltorb. They got a Sonic Boom on me, which I know will take about 20 HP. So at least I know that. While I take them out with a crit, Pikachu was next. And a single Feint Attack was enough. Lost was Raichu. They used Thunder Wave, paralyzing me. Feint Attack still went through despite this. Now he's using Double Team? I already can't see you! Also, I got Parahexed. This is not looking good. This is because I don't have any eyes. Sorry, I've been watching way too much One Piece lately. Next turn they shocked me, making us into an electric type. Unfortunately, we missed our attack. Next they quick attacked me, and we were paralyzed. Oh, come on! Another shockwave. How am I still alive? Paralyzed. Another quick attack, and just one more punch, we won. Why is the Invisible Man the worst lawyer? He can never appear in court. So wait, you're telling me that because I don't have Flash, I'm gonna have to go through all of Dark Tunnel with limited light while invisible. I'm home! Now in Ecritique City, so let's check out the gym. First up is Victory Bell. Since Psybeam is a psychic type move, it took out Victory Bell immediately. Apparently Psybeam is strong in Keckleon, because it also took out Tangela. Vileplume was last. A Psybeam likely took a lot of damage since it's super effective, but they survived. They then paralyzed me. Because now I'm slower, she uses Giga Drain, healing up their HP. Doesn't really matter, however, because one more attack and we won. Here's a terrible dad joke for you. How did the doctor cure the Invisible Man? He took him to the ICU. After the gym, as a 10-year-old child, I think I'm old enough to fight Team Rocket. But while in Zuigo's basement, I took literally 1.5 minutes stuck here. The thing is, I couldn't get past this tile. At the time, I thought the game glitched, perhaps because I messed up the graphics, but eventually I figured out it was just an item in the way, and this was in front of an audience. Dang-a-ma-dingus. Anyway, I beat it up an adult, found a tea on an empty chair, and traveled to the cemetery. Interestingly enough, this area appeared to be affected more than any other area in the game. Of course, the NPCs are all invisible as usual, but there's also supposed to be a mist, but it's gone now. I want to ride my bicycle, I want to ride it now. I want to ride my bicycle, I want to ride it out. Now in Fuchsia City. Before we fight the gym, let's go get the HM Surf. Where are you? This gym has a whole new meaning in this challenge. Koko's first Pokemon was Coughing. Instead of using Psybeam, I used Mega Punch so that Coughing could make Keckleon poison typing. This would decrease damage from stronger Pokemon. Next turn I fainted them. Mug is next and I used Psybeam, where he used Acid Armor. They tanked another Psybeam and now they're using Minimize. Dude, I don't know where I'm hitting you as it is. Oh hi Muck. Koko decides to heal his Mini Muck. Ugh. Thereafter, we traded Psybeams and Sludges until he inevitably faints. Remember, Keckleon is a poison type still at this point, so damage is pretty much minimal. Coughing is next. By the way, a quick note, you can determine your Pokemon's health by looking at your team. Of course, Coughing lost to one Psybeam. Last up is Wheezing, which lost to 2 Psybeams. This one actually took me 3 attempts this time. Because of Psybeam, I thought this gym would be a little bit easier, but Koko's Pokemon are bulky and Muck has Minimize. Nurse comes from the waiting room and says, "Doctor, there's a man out here who claims to be invisible. What should I tell him?" Doctor replies, "Tell him I can't see him today." Now up against Sabrina. By the way, I guess I was switch training Sid the Magikarp. I guess I need an HM Martyr. Anyways, while switching back to Foot, Sabrina decided to use Future Sight. Next turn, and Kadabra uses Calm Mind. And I used Mega Punch to feint them. By the way, does anyone else sometimes spell Calm C-A-L-M-N? I don't know why I do. Mr. Mime is next, so I decided to continue switch training. Upon switching out to Foot, Mr. Mime used Psybeam, which got a crit and confused me. Well, at least Future Sight failed, although I have no idea why. I attacked faintly, and he beamed Psyly. Hereafter, defeated them with another attack. Switch training is professional. As I was switching out, Venomoth used Psybeam. Because they're a bug type, I used Agent Power, feinting them. One last switch, and Alakazam used Future Sight. Alakazam then used Calm Mind, and I Saitamaed them, which got Sid to level 20. Woot! An Invisible Man and an Invisible Woman married. I don't know what they saw in each other, and their kids aren't much to look at. Dang, that was harsh. By the way, I asked my audience what the name Keckleon since I forgot to choose a name earlier. They chose Foot. Okay! Moving forward. Not much really happens between gyms 6 and 7, except forcing my mother to play the game while invisible. Are you talking to him now? No, you're not.
Okay, how do you talk to him?
Yeah,
Excuse me, sir. Can you talk to me?
No!
It doesn't work like that.
No, not at all. So let's go ahead to the gym. Man, I missed that mustache. Good Boy is out first, scaring me with invisibleness. Despite my physical attack being lowered, I use Ancient Power, feinting Good Boy. This happened to Ponyta as well. Rapidash is next. He used Fire Blast, making Foot's typing fire. which will decrease their fire attacks. In response, I used Ancient Power, but this time they lived. Next turn, I threw another, but weakened Fire Blast, and I finished them off with my Ancient and Wisdom-esque power. Good Boy is last. Unfortunately, they do another physical stat decrease on me. Good Boy's first attack was Takedown, which missed. I used my last Ancient Power. Next turn, Good Boy hilariously missed another Takedown. Sorry, dude. And I used Mega Punch. In hindsight, why didn't I just use Feint Attack? Very last thing, they finally got a Takedown on me, creating Recoil. Also, my apartment thought it was a good time to tear down some trees while I record. Good timing, guys. With a Mega Punch, we won the match. My friend has invented an invisible vehicle. I asked him, what, like a car? Not really, he replied. It's more vanish than that. Okay, that one got me. Next is the final gym, and being invisible made maneuvering kind of funny. Now let's finish this, Giovanni. By the way, I'm sure you've noticed that the comments on the side are now gone. They decided to be invisible. No, I'm just terrible at OBS. For his first Rhyhorn, I used Psybeam. I basically just used Psybeam for the rest of the match since it's the best move against this team anyway. He uses Earthquake. He must have been at low health because he used Hyper Potion thereafter. But while he was doing this, I attacked. Since I'm faster, I attacked, fainting them. Doug is up next, and he used Earthquake, while I used my super duper Invisible Beam. This sequence repeated, leading to Doug fainting. Nidoqueen is up, and I damaged them to red health. I can feel it. They attacked. Next turn, they healed. See, I told you. Thereafter, I attacked, and another fainted them. Nidoking is next. I attacked. He attacked, and I fainted him. Last up was Rhyhorn. With my Special Beam Cannon, I chipped away at his health, while also confusing him. Next turn, since Giovanni doesn't have a lot of money left, he used his full heal, whereby I finished them off. By the way, Foot survived 5 Earthquakes. Dang, you chunky. Is it funny that I actually danced a little when I said that? This gym seemed to be a little bit tougher than the previous ones. Nonetheless, we were able to thwart his schemes. Thwart is such a good word. Thwart. Also, what's invisible and smells like worms? A bird's fart. I mean, I guess. What am I pushing? So now I'm at the Poke League. But as you may know, I am legally obligated to juxtapose a singing montage in every single challenge I do. That, and Foot isn't quite strong enough yet to fight the Elite Four. So here we go. If someone stood up in a crowd and raised his voice way up loud and waved his arms and shook his leg, you've noticed him. If someone in a movie show yelled, "Fire! In the second row! This whole place is a powdered keg!" You've noticed him. And even without clucking like a hen, everyone gets noticed now and then. Unless, of course, that person should be invisible. Inconsequential. Me. Cellophane, Mr. Cellophane should have been my name, Mr. Cellophane, 'cause you could look right by me, walk right by me, and never know I am there. Never, ever, no. Bum. Alright, Lorelei. Lorelei's first Pokemon is Dugong. Since Ancient Power is super effective against ice types, I KO'd them. For Cloyster, aware of their lesser special defense stat, I went for Feint Attack, which they did survive. In retaliation, they use Hail, which, interestingly enough, doesn't make Foot into an ice type. Next turn, they Hail stalled me with Protect. They do it again, but failed. So my Feint Attack went through, finishing them off. Slowbro is up next, and they're a bit more stubborn than the previous two. I Feint Attack, and they increase their special defense with Amnesia. They must have gotten to low health with my previous attack, since they healed with a full restore. But for reasons I don't know, I used Mega Punch to finish them off. I'm assuming it was to retain PP in my other moves. Ha! I said PP. I Feint Attack, he Amnesias, I Feint Attack again, but then he tries to put me to sleep with Yawn. Unfortunately, there's nothing I could do about that, so I attack, whereby he used Surf, making Foot into a water type. Foot went to sleep thereafter. For next 2 consecutive turns, I slept, and Lorelei uses Yawn. Like, seriously, Lorelei? After this weird set of events, she eventually realizes that this wasn't gonna work, so she surfed. Although, Foot is already a water type at this point, so it's not very effective. Foot finally awoken using Feint Attack to appropriately feint Slowbro. Our next opponent is Jinx, who was almost as annoying in a very similar way. Immediately I used Feint Attack since it would be super effective against them. To my surprise, they survived, and used Lovely Kiss to boot, putting Foot to sleep once again. Ah! Next turn, while Foot is asleep, Jinx used Attract. Dude, how could Foot be attracted while asleep? I mean, I'm not dissing Jinx or anything, I just don't see the appeal. Anyway, Foot woke up and immediately immobilized by love. Jinx definitely, totally did not rip out the heart of Foot by B-word slapping them into oblivion. Next turn, Foot kept being in love. Dude! And she put them asleep again. Oh, Foot, you poor, poor fool. Of course, Foot stayed asleep, while Jinx used Ice Punch on a defenseless Chameleon. But at least due to the previous Ice Punch, Foot was an Ice type, so it didn't hurt too much. Finally, Foot woke up and realized that there are better Chameleons in the rainforest, and finishing them off with Feint Attack. Last Pokemon, Lapras, thankfully was finished off quickly. An Ancient Power, a weakened Surf due to my typing, and another Ancient Power gave us the win. This was done on my 3rd attempt. 1 Elite Four member down, 4 to go. Math! By the way, when a woman is dating an invisible man, can she really say she's seeing someone? Wow, these jokes are getting pretty bare bone, aren't they? Bruno is next. Of course, his team isn't exactly strong, plus I got Psybeam, so nothing to worry about. Honest was first. I used my trusty imaginary beam and he used Earthquake. He healed and I attacked. One more beam defeated Onix. His second Onix was brought out and much of the same occurred, with the exception to the healing portion. Bruno's next Pokemon was Hitmonchan. Surprisingly, he withstood a Psybeam, but his retaliation was a missed Rock Tomb, which makes me want to say, oh honey. Hitmonlee was next, and he too was able to survive my second attack. Why? Hello? His response was a Mega Cake. This put me back from the ground typing to normal from the Earthquake earlier. Not a very good typing to have against this team. He healed and I beamed. One more beam was enough. Bruno's last Pokemon was Champ, and I'm hoping he doesn't use a fighting attack. I beamed and instead of attacking, he used Scary Face, which missed. So I was able to finish them off due to this. My friends always told me I could never figure out how to be invisible. If only they can see me now. Agath is our next opponent. MC Hammer is up, and since he's faster than Foot, he used Confuse Ray. And of course, Foot hit himself in confusion. They then used Kagebushin no Jutsu. At least this time I was able to get past the confusion to use Feint Attack. Next turn I healed and I attacked again. I gotta say, this healing thing that these members do doesn't seem to do much in the long run. They're still faster, so they tried to use Toxic as a last ditch effort. But thankfully they missed and I feinted MC Hammer with a crit, which very much didn't matter. Joseph is next. It's nice seeing my old challenge Pokemon once in a while. They cut the air and since I got a rock, I feinted them. Sorry dude, Arbok was brought out. You know, Arbok is also one of my challenge Pokemon. Agatha! Due to Arbok's ability, Foot's physical stat went down, so I used Psybeam confusing them, and they hilariously feinted themselves with confusion. Agatha's second MC Hammer is next. It plagiarized Lorelei's idea and put Foot to sleep with hypnosis. Kinda getting tired of this, honestly. Next turn, MC Hammer gave me a nightmare of losing all my subs in one night. Still asleep, Foot? Wow. Since Foot is no longer a normal type because of Joseph's Air Cutter, MC Hammer's Shadow Ball was able to hit Foot, making him into a ghost now. Oh boy, maybe this ability isn't exactly useful. Thankfully, I feinted them with a critted Feint Attack, which the crit this time may have mattered. MC Hammer Jr. was last, and of course, just one Feint Attack beat them. Agatha lost in 11 attempts. Why do I tend to have a tough time with old ladies? Also, here's a joke. This one's more of a visual joke, so good luck to ya. What's the Invisible Woman's favorite font? Yeah, I can see what you did there. We are finally at the last Elite Four member. Dang, this is weird. Gyarados is first. I honestly can't think of other ways to warp his name. Sorry. By the way, I'm not a big fan of this intimidation tactic here. First things first, I used Ancient Power, and they bit my foot. One more Ancient Power defeated them. You know, despite the fact that Keckleon's name is Foot, I surprisingly haven't made a ton of Foot jokes. That's my bad. Aerodactyl is next, and they got a crit with a wing attack. In retort, I used Ancient Power, which thankfully gave me the All Might power boost. Another one defeated them. Lance then brought out his first Dragonair. Honestly weird that he doesn't just bring out Dragonite, but whatever. I Psybeamed them, and they Thunderwaved me. Next turn they healed, and I got through their paralysis to attack. Before they were fainted by my attack, they used Outrage, turning Foot into a Dragon Foot, which is definitely not what I wanted. His next Dragonair is up, and instead of attacking, they used a useless Safeguard. I, being the very smart PokeTuber that I am, used my famous critted Ancient Power. Last up is Dragonite. This time they made the smart move of using Outrage, a Dragon type attack. I used Ancient Power. Next turn, Outrage continued, which I'm honestly surprised I survived. One more attack and I won the match on my 7th attempt. Who's a good foot? You are! You are! The Invisible Man has a warrant out for his arrest. The charge is failure to appear. Be truthful, how bad are these jokes? We are finally at the final boss of the game. Elihu's first Pokemon is of course Pidgeot. They're faster unfortunately, so they use Feather Dance, decreasing my attack. Actually, kind of smart play here. Since they're a flying type, I use Ancient Power. They survived, likely due to the Feather Dance. They then use Aerial Ace, making Foot into a flying type. After this, I finished them off with an Ancient Power, with a crit, along with an All Might power boost. Dang. Rhydon is next, and I'm kind of scared since now I'm a flying type. I use Feint Attack since their special defense is to be desired, but instead of using a rock attack, they use Scary Face, decreasing my speed. Still not fun, but better than a stone. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Oh, and I defeated them with my Mind Attack. Next was Uhura Sr. They reflected, and I feinted them with a Feint Attack. My physical stat is most definitely weakened at this point. Executor is up, and I feinted them with a Feint Attack, accompanied with a crit. May have mattered, but no idea. Now we gotta go up against Good Boy, who is definitely no pushover. And once again, my physical stat went down due to Intimidate. What is with Elihu and his need to decrease my physical attacks? Good Boy's first attack was Flamethrower, and I use Ancient Power. In hindsight, using a physical move, despite being super effective, may have not been the best move here. But since I can't see my opponent's HP, it may be difficult to know whether my attacks are effective or not. Since Foot is now a fire type, Elihu went for Extreme Speed instead. Another Ancient Power. Changing between different types to optimize damage, Elihu went for Flamethrower once again, and I kept using Ancient Power. Sometimes I'm not the smartest man, but it was this turn where Reflect vanished, so that's nice. Last turn, Good Boy made me into a normal type again with Extreme Speed, and I finished him off. I'm glad about this. It'll be nice to win with my original typing. Elihu's last Pokemon is Nerftoise. Oh boy. Due to the scary face from earlier, Nerftoise was first to attack, using Rain Dance to increase their attack's potency. I use Psybeam since using special attacks is maybe a little bit smarter. Nerftoise, instead of using Water Gun, bought a much better Water Squirter, making Foot into a Water type. Never mind about that normal type at the end. I attack to continue chipping away at his health. Next turn, since Foot is now a Water type, his last move didn't do too much. Well, I'm presuming, whereby I destroyed them with one last Psybeam, winning with the Water type Keckleon using a Psychic type move. Not the most dramatic win, but it is a win nonetheless, and on my second attempt too. And with that, Foot was not put into a Hall of Fame. Whew, okay, we can do this. Along with Tot, Bellsmart, Uhura, MC Hammer, Groot, Shiitake, Jock, Joseph, Kitty Cow, Ekans, Coughing, Priceless, Purpose, Doug, I have to breathe, sorry. Good Boy, Norman, I Eat Birds, The Explosion Squad, HCR, CS Aaron, and Breath. Wow, I now have to breathe. With an in-game count of 16 hours and 54 minutes. Now, just one last joke before we're done. Invisible Man found dead in his apartment. Where do we draw the line? And that's it. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please let me know by pushing the like button. But good luck finding it since it's invisible. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel, which is also invisible. You know what? I just hope you had a good time watching the video. One last thing, if you have any prayers, which are not invisible, please let me know. And I'll be praying for you. I really do read every comment, so if you have any prayer requests, let me know. And with that, I say, bye Felicias. Gather up all the crew, it's time to ship out being sprue. Sea wind blows to where, who knows, the waves will be our guide. Or across the ocean's tide, rays of sunshine far and wide. Birds they sing of cheerful things in circles passing by. Yo-ho, yo-ho.